all three, get their tricks and their treats that night. They get their tricks and their treats that night. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, hello, my name is Katie, and you have stumbled upon one of the many videos that I actually know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about books. Most of the time, I'm doing hauls or TBRs or things like that where I just don't know what the book's about. And I will always let you guys know, I'm like, I don't know. However, these books, my wrap-ups, those I do know what the book's about. So you're in for a treat. You stumbled upon greatness.
That's my opinion!
Basically. So this is my recent reads video. These books are the ones that I read in September and October because, quite frankly, I don't read enough books in a month to do a wrap-up, I feel. So these are the 10 books that I read in those 2 months. And if you're new, what I normally will do, I will start with the furthest back book. So the one that I started first in September, work my way up to the last book that I read, and I will give you a short synopsis, what I liked about the book, what I didn't like about the book, my rating. The links for them are down below, and it's spoiler free just for you. So let's just go ahead and start with the first book on my list. You're gonna be my co-host? Oh my goodness. Yeah, say hello. My name is Callie because I am not creative. So of course the Calico Cat's gonna be called Callie, right? The first book on my list is called More Than a Feeling, and it is by Molly McLean, and this is book 2 in the Cold Creek series. I received this book as a review, and I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving this book 4 stars, and in the book you're following our heroine named Olivia and our hero named Aiden. It's been a while. I can't remember that far back. But this is an older brother's best friend trope. It's small town. It's a second chance romance. It's a little forbidden because when they were younger, she was in college. Oh no, she was going to go to college. Just like her senior year of high school, he was in college. When he would come back, they were together. They hooked up. But his best friend didn't know, and her brother, which is the best friend, didn't know, so they always had to keep it hush-hush. So something happens where they break up. Years go by, she gets married, and her husband dies. And for some odd reason, her husband was into some shady stuff, and now the mafia is after her. This is small town. This is really not a mafia book at all, but there's just elements of it. And so she needs a bodyguard. That's right, it's also a bodyguard trope because he has to pretend, and it's fake dating. Oh my God, this had all the tropes and I just now remembered. Okay, so what happens is her brother, who is a cop, and so is the love interest, he's like, I need someone to protect my sister because she's coming back to town so these mafia men don't come after her. So I need someone to fake date, but really to be the bodyguard. So Aiden's like, well, I'll do it, So it just goes from there. Like they meet back up, and there's still chemistry, but he has to figure out what it is that happened that made them break up in the first place because she never told him. So I really enjoyed this one. I think the first book in the series is following the brother, so I may have to go back and read it. I have it on Kindle because it's on Kindle Unlimited, so I may have to go back and read it. But I really enjoyed this one because it's just got all the tropes. It's got all the tropes. Your second chance, your fake dating, your bodyguard, your small town, and your brother's best friend. Say less. Okay, the next book that I read was Go Deep by Fiona Davenport. And this is I'll tell you, it's book 4. Book 4 in the New York Nighthawk series. Okay, so before going into this, I thought, oh, it's just another sports romance. It's fine. No, ma'am, that's not really how this works. So Fiona Davenport is a 2-author name, and they write short, steamy, to the point books with like alpha heroes. So in this book, you are following Marley, and I want to say Clay. You are following Marley and Clay. And Marley's roommate is dating Clay's teammate, and they decide to move in together. So that's leaving Clay out in the cold. So Clay needs a new place to live. Marley just happens to have a bed free. So he moves in with Marley. And as soon as he sees her, he's like, she's mine. He's like, she will be mine. She doesn't know it, but she's coming home with me. Like when my apartment is all done getting fixed up and I can move in, she's coming with me. So I was a little taken aback by that. And I'm like, okay, that's a little too insta-love for me. Because I'm not a fan of insta-love. I'm not a fan of it. But for this, it worked because it was short. It was to the point. It got straight to the steamy scenes. Like, I think it's the second day they wake up and look, you're coming here for a good time and a short time for this book, and that's what you get. Let me tell you the tropes. We've got, it's insta-love. He's an alpha male. There is a breeding kink in this, which I didn't know was possible. So that's something new. That's something new I learned in this book. Yep. And it's a virgin heroine. So you've got all those tropes in that book. And I ended up giving it a 3.5 because I couldn't give it a 5 because I don't like the insta-love. I don't like it. But after I learned that this is pretty much all like they write, like the short, steamy, alpha male, very jealous, possessive men, I was like, okay, I can get behind it now. It's a little better. So I ended up pumping it up to a 3.5 stars. The next book that I read was Always Her Love. See, I have read so many books in the past 2 months. Now I can't remember anything. Always Her Love by Melissa Foster, which is book 4 in the Steals of Silver Island. I'm a mess, but if I'm looking down, I have my notes here. But so the Steals at Silver Island. Okay, so we have the heroine who is Tara, and we have the hero who is, I'm still blanking on everyone's names at this point, Levi. Okay, once I get their names and I remember it's all good. So Levi is a single dad who's got a daughter. Tara is that daughter's aunt because Tara's sister did not want anything to do with her child. She was like, either you come get this child when I give birth to it or I'm putting it up for adoption. So Levi goes, he's 19 when his daughter was born, and he takes her and he raises her. And I think in the book she's like 8 or 9. And he's always had the help of Tara. Tara has always been there. She's like, I love this girl. She's my niece. I love her. So they spend a lot of time together. And every spring, during spring break, Tara will go and live with them for 2 weeks. So this has like forced proximity in it because they're living together. But I gave this book 5 stars. I loved the writing. I loved the characters. And once you look into Melissa Foster's writing, there's like, she's got 5,000 books and they're series and they go off of other people from the books, and it's all interconnected and it's such a good time. But if you love single dad, read this book because Levi would do anything for his daughter, and it just gives you the good feelings. You rooted for them to be together because he needed something, because he's always put himself on the back burner because he wants to make sure his daughter has everything she needs. But it was just so good. I just really enjoyed this one, and you should give it a chance if you're into small town, single dad. A little bit of Forbidden because she's the aunt, but so good. Okay, the next book that I read was The Warlord, and that was by Kelly Ash. This is a mafia, the first in a series. What is it? The McTire Mafia series. So in this, we are following the heroine, whose name is, again, I just looked down at my paper. What is wrong with me? Sloane. Okay, Sloane gets kidnapped by our hero, Grayson. Okay, because she is to be married to the head of the Irish Mafia. And he is the warlord, Grayson. And he's like the muscle. They all have different names in the Mafia. There's like the director, the warlord. He's like the second guy. And he is tasked with being her bodyguard, making sure she stays safe. So it's kind of like captive because he is the one that kidnapped her. But he did it for someone else. But he ends up liking her. So it's a no-no because you don't go against the head of the Mafia because that's his woman. But he's like, but I've been studying this girl. I know what she likes. I know all this stuff. And when I bring her over to Ireland, it's like I want to keep her for myself. And it was a good book. I ended up giving this one a 3.5 star because, again, I'm not a fan of the insta-love. And it just felt very insta-love to me because she's like, I don't like him. He kidnapped me, but also, like, he's cute and I don't care. But I'm like, okay. So that's why I ended up giving it 3.5. The next book that I read was Then and Now by Julia Jarrett, and this is book 5 in the Dogwood Cove series. I got this one again to review, so I haven't read the other ones, but that's okay. It is another small town single dad romance, and I've come to terms with the fact that I love single dads in books. I mean, I don't really dislike them outside of books either, but inside the books, it's where it's at. This is also a second chance romance. In this book, we are following Serena, who was dating, what's his name? Leo. These names, I'm telling you what, they're escaping me today. Serena and Leo dated when they were in high school, and she was set to be this big star ballerina. She had these high hopes of going and becoming this famous dancer. However, something happened to where they ended up breaking up. She went on to try to become the dancer. She had a very bad accident to where she couldn't dance anymore, or at least the way she wanted to. So she ends up moving to a small town called Dogwood Cove, and she starts a dance studio there. Many years later, Leo moves to town to become the new sheriff, and his family lives there, his extended family, so that's why he moves there. And they meet back up, and sparks are still there. It's still there, and it's just a cute small town feel. They have like these festivals, and they did it in the book, and I was like, it's like a Hallmark movie. But I enjoyed this, and I do want to continue because I liked her writing. It was the first book that I ever read by her. And did I tell you how many stars I gave it? Because I don't think I did, but I gave it a 4.5 because I really liked this one. Okay, after that, I went and read Perfect Strangers by J.T. Geisinger. I think that's how you say her name. And look, okay, if you haven't read this book, go read this book, like right now. Drop what you're doing, go do it. You know, it's on Kindle. Go get your Kindle. I'll wait. Find it, download it, and read it because it was so good. It's such a ride. Okay, so I can only say so much about this without spoiling it. So we're following, again, the names escape me, Olivia and James. But Olivia's a writer, and she's just in a funk. She's like, has no creativity. She doesn't know where she's going to find it. So her agent's like, hey, I have a penthouse, suite, apartment, whatever, in Paris. Go over there, see if you can find some creativity. So she does. And one afternoon, she's at this cafe, she meets James. Okay, now this book is insta-lovey, but I'm okay with it, okay, because they both are attracted to each other. So they form like this friends, not even friends with benefits, because they're not really friends. They just met. So it's like a fling. They're like, we'll give each other until September, because that's when Olivia is going back to the States. And they're like, we won't give out any like personal information, no history, no baggage, just the summer to have fun. And that's what happens. And that's all I can tell you. You just have to read it. Look, I just can't say anymore because it's that good. Like, it's so good. I can't say it. I can't say anything. It'll spoil it. The fun. Go read it. And then come back and tell me. And just let me know. And then after, it was a 5-star, by the way. There was no other. It was like a 5. Almost a 6-star, but I gave it a 5. And then I was like, well, you know what? I want to read Pen Pal by JT after that. And I need to let you guys know that I was fully aware of the twist in Pen Pal. I was spoiled, so I knew the, I guess, big twist of the story. So I think because of that, my reading experience was different for those who did not know the big twist. So I'm not going to tell you what the big twist is because it's a spoiler. But, so like, this was a 4-star for me. However, if I would not have known the twist, it would have been a 5-star. because it was that good and I still enjoyed it. This book is not a romance. Do not go in thinking that it's a romance because it does not have a typical happily ever after. And that's what a lot of people were upset about this, okay? To me, it has an ever after, okay? But it's not your typical one. So just know that. This does also talk about miscarriage. So she does not talk about that in the trigger warnings, but just know that going in as well, because it does affect people. It didn't affect me, but I know that it does, and a lot of people were upset that she didn't say anything about it. So, a little bit about this book. We're following a heroine whose name, again, has escaped me. Kayla. And we are following her after the death of her husband. And they're in this house. They wanted to buy this house, but it needs a lot of repairs. So she ends up meeting Aiden, which I'm just now realizing a lot of names of heroes are Aiden. But he fixes roofs. So he comes, and it's not really like an insta love, but it's I don't know. They start seeing each other. He makes it very clear to her that he's interested. And one night she goes over to his house. But just know, okay, this book is more erotic than like romance. It's an erotic thriller. Just know. Don't go in thinking it's a romance and then give it a bad rating because it wasn't what you thought it was. Because I'm telling you right now what it is. Just letting you know. But this was, like I said, 4-star. It would have been 5, but I knew the twist. Okay, after that, it was close to Halloweenish. So I'm like, gotta get something in there that's Halloween. So I read Scream for Us by Molly Doyle. And this book was, I don't know what this book was. This book was it just was. It is a very short novella set on Halloween. And we're following our heroine, Quinn, who goes to a Halloween party, gets saved by these 3 men in masks. We've got Ghostface, we've got Michael, and we've got Jason. And it's a Why Choose novella. So, all 3, get their tricks and their treats that night. They get their tricks and their treats that night. And that's really about it. I really can't say anything else because it's basically tricks and treats all night long for her. Just tricks and treats. And there is a, I don't know if it's a sequel technically, but there is one called Melt for Us, and it's Christmas. And it's with the same people. So you best believe I'll be reading that one very, very soon because I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4-star because it did what it needed to do. It was short, to the point, was a good time. Tricks and treats all around. I then read Fake Love by Jocelyn Soto. This was my second book that I had read from this author. I really enjoyed it. It's a sports romance. You are following Maddox and Jennifer. And Maddox is a baseball player. And he is coming back from being suspended and being transferred to a new team because he was addicted to cocaine. And so be forewarned, that addiction is talked about in this book as well as cancer. The reason for his addiction was because his mother was diagnosed with cancer and he did not quite know how to handle it. So he turned to that to kind of numb the pain. And that's all talked about. That's not spoilers. That's all talked about in the very first chapter. And so he goes to San Francisco where he's being traded. I'm pretty sure it's San Francisco. And he goes to get coffee. Enter Jennifer. Jennifer is a barista at the coffee place. They meet. They have like this great night of passion, I guess you can say. And then he leaves. And she's like, hey, if you ever come back, look me up. Well, the season starts. He's back in San Francisco after training. And his coach is like, hey, to kind of clean up your image a little from what's happened, you may want to think about getting a girlfriend because people love people in relationships. People are nosy and love to see people in relationships. So he goes, I know nobody in this town. What am I supposed to do? And then he's like, oh, wait, I do know somebody. He goes back to Jennifer And he's like, hey, I got a proposition for you. Because she has since quit the barista job because she wanted to be full-time a social media manager. That was like her dream job. And he's like, I will give you a job if you will pretend to be my girlfriend. And she's like, this is crazy. But she eventually says yes, and they start this fake relationship that's going to turn into a real one because it's a romance. I loved it. It was so good. I gave it 4 stars. There's nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't like a 5-star to me. But I really enjoyed this one. And then the last book, because my voice is going. The last book that I read was called The Sea Agreement, and that is by R.L. Kenderson. And this is a brother's best friend romance with teacher elements and all the good stuff. So in this book, we're following Rain. I couldn't think of her name for a second. Whew, okay, I've been talking for a while. We're following Rain, and Rain is a curvy girl, so we have that representation. And she owns it. You know, she knows that she's not the skinniest girl, but she's okay with that. She's come to terms with that. She's loving herself the way she is. However, she just got dumped by her boyfriend because he said that he would rather sleep with a dead fish because she's not that good in bed. And she's like, I don't know what to do. I need help. I need help. Someone needs to teach me. Enter her brother's best friend named Cade. I am so sorry. I cannot remember names. Cade is a woman's man. Woman's man. Man's woman. No, he's a woman's man. And he is non-committal. He loves sex. That's just what it is. He hooks up with people. He's got people that are like on a list that he rotates. And his friend, which is her brother, is like, I'm going to bet you that you can't sleep with one person for a whole month, the same person. And he's like, I'm going to take that bet. And he's like, what did I do? Because I don't have anybody. And Rain's like, I got a proposition for you. I will be that girl for you if you teach me what I need to know in bed. And he's like, because you're my best friend's little sister, but also I've always kind of liked you, but you're always been off limits, forbidden. And hence they start this deal, this agreement. And the C stands for, I can't say it on YouTube, like, use your minds. This is book 2 in like the Rendezvous series. So she's got 2 friends in the book, and the first book is about her one friend, and the third book is about the other friend. And they're all agreements, and they're all like these flings and stuff like that where, you know, you're benefiting from each other. But it was good. It was short. I enjoyed it. 4 stars. That's the list. That's the books. I'm done. My voice is going. It's too long. I've been talking for too long, and I just need to go. I need to go eat because now I'm hungry. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below, what are some of your most current recent reads, or did any of these strike your fancy or strike your interest? Would you ever want to read any of these? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new and want to join the family. I would love to have you. All my social media is linked down below. Also, my Instagram and my Goodreads if you want to stay more up to date with what I'm reading, because I'm on there more than on here. But that's besides the point. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys. You staying? Ma'am. Hey, ma'am. Ma'am. Hey. Are you staying? I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we're done coughing now. I gave it a hello, my cat. Ow! You just freaking scratched me. Ow! And now I'm bleeding.